One of One Piece's greatest strengths is world building. But it is one thing to simply come up with a lot of locations, cultures, characters, and concepts, and it is another thing entirely to make a fantasy universe feel like it lives and breathes. A well-made fictional universe should feel as though there are countless stories and conflicts and significant events occurring throughout the world, beyond just what we get to see. The protagonist's story should simply be our gateway to that world, not what the entire world revolves around. And One Piece certainly excels in this aspect. Whether it be an ancient civil war in the sky, or a mysterious bridge between islands that has been being built for centuries, we always feel as though there is something happening in every corner of the world. So how does Oda accomplish this? Well, I'm going to focus on 3 key points. In a living world, every character should have a story. A world where characters simply exist to interact with the protagonists feels flat. A world where every character has their own past, their own dreams, aspirations, paths, and goals. Where even when we do not see the character, we can tell that they have been doing something outside of our knowledge. That feels like a realistic world. Take Trafalgar Law, for instance. We can tell that Law has an entire story that played out during the 2-year time skip that we didn't get to see. He entered the New World late. He masterminded the Rocky Port incident, he sent the hearts of 100 pirates to the world government to become a warlord, he made a deal with Caesar to live on Punk Hazard, and during this time he acted as a savior for the Brownbeard pirates. We get the sense that we could have followed Law's story for 2 years and it would have been just as engaging as following the Straw Hats. And there are plenty of characters we can apply similar analysis to, and we always get the sense that they have been following their own story and making big moves just as the Straw Hats have been making theirs. But Oda doesn't just write major characters this way. He writes every character with their own developing story. It doesn't matter if they are minor characters, it doesn't matter if they no longer even impact the Straw Hats' journey. Oda will still put time into developing their storylines whenever he can. Cover stories are a unique outlet for him to continue fleshing out the stories and adventures of minor characters long after they've exited the main story. Sometimes the stories tie in later, other times they're just brief updates on characters' lives. But the point is that no one is forgotten, and in this world everyone is still living out independent stories that branch off from the Straw Hats. And just as in the real world, people's stories may intersect. Characters may cross paths. One character's story can be seen in the background of another's, and it applies to all characters, major or minor. Drake's father dies during Law's backstory. We can see Zoro training at the dojo where Dragon docked his ship. Hadruden's dream is founded during Big Mom's backstory. And we can even see a baby giant who turns out to be the same giant that Rayleigh frees later on. This dedication to making sure that every character is following their own story brings a sense of life to Oda's world. A fictional world feels like it is moving when major events take place completely independent of our protagonist's adventures. It gives us a sense that the world is filled with turmoil and conflicting forces, and our heroes are just experiencing one part of that at a time. Sometimes we get glimpses of these major events, a great duel occurring or a meeting between superpowers. Other times we are simply told of these events, great battles and shifts of power happening beyond the horizon. And then the world feels all the more vivid when we can literally see the effects of these great events later on. In particular, Oda excels at utilizing the news. Imagine a real world at war. Every day you would get news of new developments, new shifts in this ongoing war. Just as in One Piece, we regularly hear new developments such as alliances being formed, positions of power being vacated, a new battle between superpowers. It feels like we are living in a world in wartime, where the gears are constantly moving and with conflicting powers on a vast scale. Finally, Oda is a master of what I call the ripple effect. In a living world, major events should have a widespread, observable impact on other characters. Every time the Straw Hats are involved in something major, it has an effect on other nations, other crews, the government, and so on. Everything they do feels impactful because we can see the world's reactions to it. We can feel how their actions are making gears turn and things change, and how vast superpowers around them move in response to their acts. And not only do we see the big names react, but ripples go all the way to the bottom as well, from the largest forces to the smallest restaurants in the tiny outposts of the world. Everyone is affected by their actions in some way. The Straw Hats' actions also affect characters we've never seen before, whether it be inspiring fans, inspiring jealousy, or inspiring hatred. Their actions can even lead to major off-screen cause and effect chains, such as how Luffy defeating Doflamingo resulted in Jack leaving Zoe to go rescue Doflamingo, resulting in the Mink tribe being saved and a major naval battle between Jack and the Marines. Of course, it's not just the Straw Hats' actions that are making these big ripples. Just look at how Oda crafted Marineford to make it feel like a real world war. We are shown snippets of people from all corners of the world holding their breath waiting for this great battle. The war itself is broadcasted to the world, so we can see the reactions of the people, the reactions of journalists, legends like Rayleigh and up-and-coming rookies alike. We get the sense that the entire world is watching, and in the aftermath we are shown how the entire world is affected. So when Oda has quotes like "the world grows restless," we can actually feel the weight behind those words as we see for ourselves that every action has impact on the world, that this is a living, breathing world that is constantly moving and changing. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, and subscribe.